What I saw was fun, never anything inappropriate. What I saw was work and play at work and fun. Mrs. Cosby was a frequent visitor to the studio. She was there a lot. That's what I saw.
What in the rerun rewind is going down with the Cosby Show cast? Because baby, Phylicia Rashad just stepped out of her quiet queen energy and lit a fire so loud it nearly cracked Hollywood's red carpets. And get this, Tempest bled so, yeah, Vanessa Huxtable herself, the one who always played it sweet. Sis might have been keeping claws tucked behind that smile. But hold up, the real shocker. This whole mess exploded hours before Malcolm Jamal Warner's sudden, heartbreaking, and downright suspicious passing. Hours, not days. Coincidence? Or is there something way messier hiding behind those picture-perfect family moments and laugh tracks? Folks thought they were showing up to a peaceful memorial. Turns out, it was a battlefield of side eyes, secrets, and silence getting sliced by shade sharp enough to cut glass. So now everyone's asking, what did Phylicia Rashad know, and why did she wait until the spotlight was almost off to drag Tempest straight into the drama? And Malcolm's last words? Word on the street is they were cold. So cold, insiders are saying he knew something was coming. This ain't just a cast reunion gone wrong. It's a full-blown scandal cooked up from years of built-up tension, shady glances, and maybe even a little bit of behind-the-scenes betrayal. So yeah, get your snacks, your favorite blanket, maybe even a stress ball, because what I'm about to break down, it'll have you looking sideways at every Huxtable hug from now on. And this next part, it flips the whole game. Picture this, Phylicia Rashad, sitcom royalty, always the classy one, allegedly calling out her TV daughter Tempest just hours before Malcolm Jamal Warner's eerie and unexplained death. You heard that right? Not last month, not last week, hours, and those last words between them, chilly. Insiders say it was hotter than a Real Housewives reunion with no cameras cutting and no PR to save them. But let's rewind real quick, because this wasn't just some petty backstage beef. Oh no, this had all the mess of a full-blown Hollywood showdown. Less glam, more chaos. Think red flags, not red carpets. The streets and the internet are already buzzing with whispers about what really went down between Phylicia and Tempest. And no, this wasn't your basic diva meltdown. Word is, this was the match that lit up a pressure cooker that's been ready to blow for decades. We're talking long-buried grudges, quiet power moves, and drama that's been slow cooking under all that sitcom sparkle. Insiders are saying Phylicia's calm queen image, yeah, that was cover for a whole volcano of tension aimed straight at her on-screen daughter, blood or not. And Tempest, aka Vanessa Huxtable, wasn't just ruffling feathers. Sis was out here bulldozing trust like she owned the lot. Folks been whispering for years about diva behavior, secret alliances, and slick power plays happening behind the cameras. But baby, nobody saw the level of mess that was about to drop right before it all spiraled. Now here's the real question. What really happened in those final strange hours before Malcolm Jamal Warner was found unresponsive in that Beverly Hills estate pool? Why was Phylicia seen storming out of a private studio looking shaken right after a closed-door intervention with Tempest and a tight circle of Cosby cast members? And how did all that boiling tension end with a death so shocking, half of Hollywood's yelling setup, while the other half is scrambling to bury secrets that were supposed to stay buried forever? Leaked audio clips supposedly snatched off a studio staffer's iPhone caught everything. Raised voices, awkward silences, and a woman who sounds a lot like Phylicia Rashad straight up snapping. And I quote, "You're not flipping this story again, Tempest. I covered for you once, but I'm done biting my tongue." Whew, let that marinate for a second, because clearly this wasn't their first shady standoff. And this time, Phylicia didn't just bring words, she came loaded, literally. She pulled up with folders, baby, real ones, like old school paper trail receipts, straight from the early 90s. One insider claims those files were packed with scandal, missing money, manipulation, backstabbing, even full-on career sabotage. And the source? Someone who supposedly worked closely with the cast during PR events, said that meeting was supposed to be a peaceful, healing circle. But instead, it exploded into a full-blown shouting match. And Malcolm, poor Malcolm, tried to keep it together, just like he always did. He jumped in to play peacemaker. But according to this same insider, even he lost it. In the middle of the chaos, he allegedly yelled, "We've been lying to ourselves for decades. This ain't a family, it's a cover-up. But a cover-up of what? That's where things go from dramatic to downright scandalous, because the online tea-sleuths say this mess runs deeper than anyone guessed. Whispers of fake contracts, ghost-written memoirs, and a low-key feud between Malcolm and Tempest that supposedly wrecked their friendship years ago. And get this, there are claims that Phylicia tried for years to keep the peace, but execs shut her down every time, too scared to risk ruining the perfect image of the Cosby Show legacy. Fast forward to right before Malcolm's shocking and untimely death, and boom, everything boiled over. Word on the street? Phylicia got hit with something serious. An anonymous package lands in her hands. Inside, a mysterious USB stick, a stack of handwritten letters, and, wait for it, a dusty, grainy black and white VHS tape from way back in 1993. What was on it? Allegedly, footage from a production meeting that changed everything. Internet sleuths are saying that tape exposed a dirty secret. Tempest was out here secretly plotting her own spin-off show behind the cast's backs, breaking contracts, stepping over people's careers like they were nothing. If that's even halfway true, no wonder Phylicia was said to be on edge. And once she saw that tape, it's rumored she didn't waste a second. She called for an emergency, no PR, no outsiders, sit down with the original Cosby crew, and straight chaos, no filters. And yeah, it exploded. Tensions cracked harder than fake marble under pressure. But here's where it turns into a full-blown thriller. Right before he walked out of that room, Malcolm reportedly locked eyes with Tempest and hit her with the coldest line of the night. "You took everything from me. You just never thought the truth would come back to bite you." And just like that, dead silence, not a sound, no cough, no movement, just that eerie stillness that makes your whole body freeze up. Malcolm walked out, and hours later, he was gone. Cops called it an accidental drowning, but that hasn't stopped the internet detectives from going all in. Timelines, screenshots, blurry footage. The conspiracy theories are spinning wild now. Some folks are saying Malcolm didn't walk out of that studio alone. Others believe the words tossed around in that heated room followed him straight into the shadows. And a few, they're convinced the truth is being buried faster than a shredded NDA in a locked-up vault, never to be seen again. Meanwhile, Tempest, silent. Not a post, not a tear, not even a public tribute. She allegedly ghosted every press event tied to Malcolm's passing. And word is she even pulled out of a scheduled podcast taping just days after everything exploded. So what is it? Guilt, shock, or just real bad timing? You tell me. Phylicia, on the other hand, is doing what she's always done, showing grace under fire. Her team dropped a calm, polished thoughts and prayers message from Malcolm's family. But behind closed doors, insiders say she's spiraling, avoiding interviews, going MIA from the spotlight completely. And the whispers say she's even teaming up with a private investigator to finally get to the bottom of this whole twisted mess. Because let's be real, accident or not, something about all this feels off. Too many missing pieces, too many questions nobody's answering. And the fans? Oh, they've gone full FBI. Social media's blowing up. TikTok breakdowns, Reddit rabbit holes, Twitter threads longer than a CVS receipt. Everyone's digging deep. Some users are even pointing out wild connections between old Cosby Show episodes and this real-life drama, like creepy foreshadowing no one noticed until now. Others are pulling up throwback interviews and behind-the-scenes footage, zooming in on shady glances, stiff body language, and fake smiles that suddenly feel like warning signs we all missed. And that old 1991 talk show clip, it's viral again. The one where Phylicia and Tempest low-key clashed on live TV about loyalty and professionalism. Was it just TV tension? Or were the red flags waving right in our faces all along? By the time that explosive studio showdown wrapped, one thing was crystal clear. That wholesome Cosby Show family image? Straight up fantasy. A pretty picture painted for cameras, while the real stuff stayed buried. And for Phylicia to finally break her silence and spill decades worth of secrets just hours before Malcolm's shocking death? Baby, that ain't drama. That's a full-on detonation. But the biggest question still haunts this whole mess. Why now? What made Phylicia stay quiet all these years while the truth burned her from the inside out? And what kind of bomb was Malcolm about to drop? The one someone clearly didn't want the world to hear? And just when you thought things couldn't get more twisted, buckle up, because here's where it goes full thriller mode. One insider who says they were helping prep for the memorial the day before the funeral claims Phylicia lost it backstage. She allegedly shouted, "I warned him about Tempest," I told him she wasn't right, and he's right there, in front of everybody. Now, was that pure grief, guilt, or both? Either way, the timing, ice, cold. Another anonymous source, reportedly close to the Warner families, dropped something even heavier. Malcolm, they said, was preparing to expose someone just weeks before he died, and he told them, "If anything happens to me, it won't be an accident. I've got enemies in silk gloves." Enemies in silk gloves. Tell me that doesn't sound like a Hollywood thriller script just waiting to get greenlit. But let's back it up and talk about Tempest Bledsoe's alleged behind-the-scenes power play. Word is, she was slowly pushing Malcolm out of key decisions at their shared production company. Even worse, insiders claim she convinced him to co-sign some shady licensing deals tied directly to his own creative rights. And the kicker? One leaked doc from a supposedly hacked inbox shows her signature right there, next to a big fat blank space where Malcolm's name should have been. Like, excuse me, ma'am? That's not just messy, that's madness. Phylicia wasn't the only one dropping bombs. Nope. Multiple Cosby Show alumni, who've been keeping their lips sealed for years, are now whispering the same thing. Back in the 90s, Tempest had a reputation, sweet-talking producers, twisting arms behind the scenes, and flipping storylines just to keep herself sitting pretty at the top. Word is, she knew how to play the game, and she played it ruthless. We all grew up thinking Vanessa was the calm, smart voice of reason type. But now, it's looking like Sis might have been the mastermind in Pearls, the kind who smiled in your face while rewriting your lines behind your back. And here's the kicker. Just 3 months before Malcolm's death, Tempest posted a cryptic Instagram photo, standing in front of a mirror with the caption, "Reflection is power. Not all masks are ugly." Whew. Back then, folks brushed it off as artsy. But now, it's giving full-on Marvel villain teaser. Dramatic lighting, cryptic vibes, and all. But hold up, back to the funeral. Every big name was there. Debbie Allen, Raven Simone, even a few new-gen Netflix stars showed up to pay respects. But what went down inside that church left jaws on the floor. Just as the service started, a private security team rolled in. And baby, that is not standard at a peaceful Hollywood farewell. Word is, Tempest showed up with her own personal bodyguards because she feared someone might try to retaliate over Malcolm's passing. Retaliate? Girl, is this a tribute or the Godfather reboot? One shaken guest even told reporters that Phylicia straight up refused to speak during the ceremony. Her reason? She wasn't about to lie in front of God. Who? That ain't shade. That's a whole solar eclipse. And just when you think it can't get weirder, boom, here comes the voicemail. Yep, a haunting little audio clip started circling online like a cursed cassette tape, allegedly sent to one of Malcolm's closest friends, a former co-star. And what it said, let's just say, some truths refused to stay buried. In the leaked voicemail, Malcolm's voice reportedly says, "I don't feel safe. If something happens, tell the world I was silenced." Now, no one's confirmed the audio 100%, but AI voice analysis came back at 91%. That ain't a glitch, sweetheart. That's a giant red flag waving in 4K with sirens blaring. Meanwhile, the internet detectives are clocking in heavy hours. Reddit threads, TikTok truthers, YouTube energy readers. Everybody's out here spinning theories. Some say Malcolm and Tempest were beefing over creative control behind the scenes. Others claim she had old Cosby Show footage that could ruin careers and used it to keep certain people in check. Then there's the wildest theory of all, the Hollywood elite cover-up crowds. Yeah, they're back, loud, shiny, and extra shady. According to one viral post, Malcolm was working on a tell-all memoir, something that would have blown the squeaky clean legacy of that show to pieces. And allegedly, there were some real powerful folks ready to shut that down before a single chapter dropped. And people are noticing weird stuff too, like how some celebs from that era suddenly stopped tagging each other, unfollowed everyone, and started acting like they'd never even met. Coincidence? Or quiet distancing? But here's where things get real suspicious. Follow the money, because this mess ain't just about betrayal, it's about big cash. Right before he died, Malcolm had just renegotiated a major syndication deal for The Cosby Show. We're talking multi-million-dollar territory, but then, poof. Just days after his death, the whole deal vanished. No press statement, no public update, just silence. And guess who reportedly had power of attorney over some of Malcolm's business affairs in those final months? Ding ding, you guessed it, Tempest Bledsoe. Leaked legal docs show she was quietly added as a limited co-executive on a few contracts, giving her the ability to fast-track decisions while Malcolm was recovering from minor surgery. Aha, fast-tracked what exactly? That's the question everybody's whispering now that Malcolm's gone. And trust, folks are starting to wonder if this wasn't just a tragedy, but part of a bigger play. Insiders are raising eyebrows at one major red flag. How did Tempest suddenly become Malcolm's emergency contact? Like, hold up, the man had siblings, a longtime partner, and grown kids. But somehow, his TV sister got full VIP access to his private medical records? That's not random. That's not checkers. That's chess, baby. Now the internet's going full detective mode, piecing together theories like a Hollywood conspiracy corkboard. Fans are demanding that law enforcement reopen the case into Malcolm's mysterious death. And don't think the people at the top aren't feeling that pressure. One anonymous source inside the county let it slip. There's been quiet talk about gaps in the official timeline. And here comes the twist. Malcolm wasn't even supposed to be at that private retreat near Big Bear Lake. That's right, plot twist. He had actually booked a wellness weekend in Santa Barbara. So why was he over 100 miles in the wrong direction? And why, according to phone records, was Tempest the last person to text him that night? And we can't ignore the autopsy drama, wrapped up in under 48 hours, rushed, sealed, and locked down. No toxicology report released, no full findings shared with the public, nothing. Then suddenly, fans started asking too many questions online. And what happened next? Tempest deleted her entire Twitter account. Like, what? That move alone had people screaming, guilty energy. Now, to be fair, some folks are defending her, saying the whole thing's just wild internet gossip stirred up by bored bloggers. But others, they're done biting their tongues. One retired TV writer dropped a nasty Facebook post that's now making the rounds. Stick around long enough in Hollywood and you learn one thing. People smile for the camera, then stab you backstage. And honestly, that quote might be the realest thing said so far. Now this is where the plot flips completely. A ghostwriter who claims he helped Malcolm pen his final memoir just dropped a bombshell on an anonymous Substack. According to him, the manuscript was almost finished, and those last chapters, pure dynamite. We're talking betrayals, lawsuits, broken loyalty, stuff that could have wrecked reputations. And here's the kicker. The writer said Malcolm got paranoid near the end, real paranoid. He reportedly insisted all meetings be done face-to-face with no phones, no laptops, no tech at all. Like, that's next level I'm being watched energy, you feel me? But it gets creepier. Just days after Malcolm passed, that same ghostwriter's home office was mysteriously trashed. And no, not robbed, trashed. Drawers flipped, papers thrown everywhere, but nothing stolen, not even a laptop. It looked like someone broke in not for money, but to find something. They weren't after valuables. They were digging for secrets. Even Phylicia, the queen of calm and camera-ready cool, has been spotted lately looking shaken in public. When paparazzi hit her with the question, did she think foul play was involved? Her response, a cold, I've said what I needed to say. May he rest in peace. That's not closure, baby. That's encrypted drama. And don't sleep on what a source close to the funeral director allegedly spilled. Word is, Tempest pushed hard to have Malcolm cremated immediately. No second viewing, no delay. But his family stepped in and shut that down, stalling it by 24 hours. And everybody's asking, why the rush? What was she trying to erase before it ever saw the light of day? Now, as more time passes and the smoke refuses to clear, the whispers, they're turning into roars. And this ain't just online gossip anymore. This is Hollywood history being rewritten right before our eyes. The theories, they're multiplying like wildfire. And Malcolm's fans, oh, they're not letting this slide. And honestly, who could blame them? There are too many red flags, too many people going ghost, and way too much silence from folks who were supposed to be tight with Malcolm. And if you thought the drama peaked at the funeral, oh no, baby. We're just cracking the lid. Because just days after the memorial, someone anonymously leaked a batch of private emails between Malcolm and a close confidant. And in those receipts, he wrote, I don't think I'll make it to 55. People want me gone. Let that sit with you for a second. That's not vague, that's chilling. And just when it felt like this couldn't possibly spiral any further, Hollywood basically said, hold my champagne, sweetie, because here comes the real explosion. Sources now claim that hours before Malcolm Jamal Warner was found dead, Phylicia Rashad allegedly confronted Tempest Bledsoe backstage at a hush-hush family reunion event. But this wasn't a cast get-together or scripted reunion special. Nope. This was a private tribute being quietly organized for Malcolm's upcoming mental health awareness project, one barely anyone even knew he was working on. And here's where the whole web snaps. Eyewitnesses say Phylicia, dressed head to toe in that signature regal queen energy, pulled Tempest aside and told her, "You think secrets stay buried forever? You're about to find out the hard way." Excuse me? Was that a warning? A threat? Or the truth finally spilling from a woman who stayed quiet for way too long? Let's not forget, this ain't some background extra from a canceled pilot. This is Phylicia Rashad, icon educator, Black TV royalty, a Columbia professor, and let's be real, someone who probably knows enough industry dirt to shut down half of Hollywood. So when she speaks, you stop scrolling and listen. And here's the kicker. One crew member who's suddenly off-grid sipping margaritas in Mexico claims that confrontation turned explosive. He says things got so heated, someone had to literally step in between Phylicia and Tempest to stop it from going physical. And get this, Malcolm allegedly heard the shouting, ran in and said, "We need peace, not this, not again." Wait, not again? Sir, what exactly went down before? Because that line right there, it's got people spiraling. Embrace yourselves. The timeline just turned straight up eerie. That heated confrontation reportedly happened just 4 hours before Malcolm's body was found, floating near a secluded beach in California. 4 hours, not 4 days, not 4 weeks. 4 hours. Coincidence? Please. We don't do coincidence over here. We do receipts. And oh, baby, this is where the whole thing starts unraveling. Rewind it back. Multiple insiders, anonymous of course, have now come forward saying Malcolm had been slowly distancing himself from Tempest in the months leading up to his death. Alleged text messages between Malcolm and a close confidant, a former producer from Read Between the Lines, show things weren't just tense. They were dark. In one text, just 2 weeks before everything went down, Malcolm supposedly wrote, "I can't keep pretending things are fine with her. Every convo feels like she's hiding something. I don't believe half of what she's saying, especially about Bill. Bill as in Bill Cosby. Yep, that ghost is still haunting this circus, and now it's creeping right into this mess. Because get this, some sources claim Tempest was one of the only cast members still keeping in private contact with Bill even after everything came crashing down, while the rest of the crew, Malcolm, Phylicia, and others, publicly stepped back. Tempest, she stayed quiet. Too quiet. Word is, she was playing both sides like a PR chess match. One unnamed industry vet even said, "Sis knew where the skeletons were buried, and who buried them." Whew. That's not just shade, that's ice cold. And now, we're standing in a storm of secrets, silence, and one very haunted legacy that refuses to stay buried. A chilling voicemail has allegedly surfaced, not officially verified yet, but it's already spreading like wildfire through the shadowy corners of Reddit and deep dive Twitter threads. Word is, the message came from Malcolm himself, recorded just hours before his death. And in it, he says, "If anything happens to me, don't let her speak at my funeral. She doesn't deserve the mic." Now, her, he didn't drop a name, but baby, the timing has the internet doing the math. And all signs are pointing straight to that fiery showdown with Tempest earlier that same day. And remember those whispers about Phylicia collapsing at Malcolm's funeral? Turns out, that moment wasn't just about grief. Reportedly, she lost it after seeing Tempest planted front and center at the service, despite Phylicia allegedly begging organizers to block her from even entering the building. But wait, it gets spookier. A little birdie claims that when Tempest stood up to speak, Phylicia rose from her seat and said, "You have no right to speak on his soul. Sit down." And just like that, total silence. You could hear the air leave the room. Even Malcolm's own mother reportedly turned her face away in that moment. One stunned attendee dropped a cryptic IG caption after the service. "I've never seen a funeral wreck people like that. Secrets spilled. Tears fell. Truth hit like a slap." So, what was the truth that cracked the room in half? Rumor has it Malcolm was working on a no-holds-barred documentary called Behind the Sitcom Smile. an uncensored, emotional deep dive into the pain and trauma behind all those polished 80s and 90s laugh tracks. And allegedly, Tempest begged him to leave her out of it. One insider claims she even offered to help fund the project if her part got cut. Malcolm stood firm. He told her no. But here's where it turns into a full-blown Hollywood thriller. The finished footage? Gone. Hard drives stolen, cameras missing, files wiped, all after a mysterious break-in, just 2 days after Malcolm's death. Like, you couldn't write this plot if you tried, and if you did, no one would believe in it. And yet, here we are. So now let's talk real motive. Was it a freak accident? Maybe a breakdown that spiraled out of control? Possibly. But what if it was something much darker? Like a desperate move to silence Malcolm before he exposed the kind of truth that would have lit up every screen in America? Let's not play naive. This is Hollywood, where image is currency and secrets are buried in designer coffins. One wrong flashback, one buried tape, one unedited confession, and boom, it becomes a smoking gun that can burn legacies to the ground. And if Phylicia's warning to Tempest really was that sharp, you're about to find out the hard way, then maybe, just maybe, she knew way more than any of us are ready to handle. So where does that leave us now? A beloved star gone too soon, a documentary that vanished without a trace, and a cast of suspects moving like they're stuck in a script that somehow lost its last page. And honestly, that might be the darkest twist of all, because if Malcolm Jamal Warner, actor, activist, survivor of this messy, ruthless industry, couldn't outrun the shadows chasing him, then who possibly can? And maybe the better question is, who will? Because after all of this, the warnings, the leaks, the whispers, the silence, I've only got one question left for the room. Was this tragic timing or a Hollywood hit job in hushed tones? Because baby, when secrets start spilling right before someone ends up dead, that's not just a red flag, that's a full-blown crime scene in couture. And this timeline, it's looking messier than a fake PR marriage imploding on Instagram Live. So tell me this. Why did Phylicia Rashad suddenly feel so pressed to break her silence just hours before Malcolm's death? Why did Tempest disappear during his final moments, only to pop back up once the storm exploded? And the scariest question of all, who's next? Because this ain't no scripted sitcom, honey. This is real life. Betrayal behind the smiles, tension buried under awards, and decades of drama detonating in front of a casket like some unaired Netflix expose. But don't just take my word for it. Sound off in the comments. Was this just a tragic twist of fate? Or is someone in the Cosby circle hiding secrets darker than we ever imagined? If you're ready for even more truths to drop, smash that like button and hit subscribe before the Hollywood machine comes in to wipe this whole thing clean. Turn those notifications on, because the next expose, it's gonna be messier than a leaked group chat with no filters and way too many receipts. This ain't gossip, it's survival mode. Stay woke, stay watching, and most of all, stay dangerous. See you in the next video.